What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about it. And I want to do this video to share an experience I had last summer dealing with employment insurance or Employment and Social Development Canada, where I was simply requesting to have my regular EI benefits switched over to sickness benefits. For most of you know, I've got a trashed elbow, arm. This These injuries I endured from that assault back in 2022. That seems to be pretty quiet with a lot of these police brutality investigators, which is a whole nother topic, which still blows my mind, man. That not a lot of people want to talk about that, but we're gonna get into that story too on another video. But this video, I want to share with everyone my experience, just simply how one employee from Service Canada, I guess, basically turned my life upside down. Um, and My whole experience with him, Tyrell Alexander, is the reason why I record most of my phone calls dealing with public servants or individuals employed by the government, because when I had submitted my application, my medical forms, everything that they had asked for, my job, I had a job list at the time. I'm in a union, so you don't usually have this whole job list, but they want you to be applying for jobs regularly. They want you to be having a log book. So when I spoke to Tyrell Alexander on August the 1st, 2025, this guy was nothing but a condescending, demeaning, undermining my injuries. He was just a straight up asshole. There was nothing pleasant about him. There was nothing sensible about him. I didn't feel comfortable talking to him. I wanted to speak to somebody else, and on that Friday before the civic long weekend here in Ontario, he told me he was going to have his answer to my application the following week, and he did. So not only did he deny my request for changing my benefits from regular to sickness, he said that I never applied for any jobs, and he ran me down, and he essentially ordered me to pay back every dollar that I was paid from unemployment insurance, which completely blew my mind, made me sick to my stomach. And it was just unnecessary. And I'm going to get into every bit of detail into this story, but this jerk, man, he just unnecessarily turned my life upside down. And it was unnecessary because at the end of all of this, after going through some intense investigations, intense appeals, they ended up overturning owing $28,000, which ultimately was $31,000. I ended up getting the sickness benefits. And, what I had asked for originally, and which Tyrell refused to give to me, spoke to me like a real asshole. There was nothing nice about his tone of voice, or, I'm injured. I've got a permanently messed up elbow and wrist that I'm constantly dealing with every day for the past almost 4 years. And this guy was just an asshole. There was nothing nice about him. And then after going through that whole appeal and investigation with employment social development, I then what they did was, because of what Tyrell Alexander did, they got an investigator involved, and they went back 5 years, because under the Employment Insurance Act, I think it's Section 52, Subrule 5, if someone has misrepresented a claim or anything, they can go back 72 months, 5 years. So that's what they did. But they ultimately deemed that I didn't provide any false or misleading represented information. It was an honest mistake. And then that's when I appealed it with the Social Security Tribunal of Canada. And that's when I spoke to Susan Graves, a former deputy director, Crown attorney, 20 plus years, prosecutor, um, who she refused to uphold the Insurance Act, and just goes to show the pattern how the government looks out for themselves and they just stick it to the public. Um, a part of all these appeals, which I'll be getting into another video, was the COVID relief money. A lot of you probably remember back during COVID, they threw $2,000 at us, and a part of this whole situation was there was an appeal for that information as well. And if you guys remember, we were never asked to pay it back. We never agreed that we were going to pay it back. And all these corporations who got COVID relief, they were granted millions of dollars, a lot of them, that they didn't have to pay back. But Susan Graves made me pay it back. I've got 2 conversations with Susan Graves. There's 2 appeals that took place last year around September, I believe, 2025. I'm going to be releasing both of those audio recordings just to share with everyone that if you're going to be dealing with Susan Graves or anyone from the Social Security Tribunal of Canada, it's going to give you some insight what you could be up against, and how they just don't play fair and they look out for their own. So I'm going to get into this video dealing from beginning of this request to the end of it, and then I'll be dropping this audio recording. So thank you guys who've subscribed to my channel. Thank you guys that's been coming along this journey with me. It isn't easy, but these guys almost put the nail in the coffin. They tried to anyways. They're trying to bury me financially. So let's get into this video. So I was ordered to pay back pretty much $31,000 to EI because of a condescending, demeaning a-hole named Tyrell Alexander. He turned my life upside down one day because he decided to be an asshole one day and treat a member of the public like shit. In July of 2025, I made a request to EI to have my regular EI benefits converted to sickness benefits. I submitted their forms with supported medical documents from my doctor. My injury was on my left arm, my left elbow, my left wrist, originally from being assaulted by police and security in 2022. I'm in pain daily, and my left arm aches every day. It really does. It's only getting worse. And I spoke to Tyrell on August the 1st, 2025. The whole conversation, he was rude, he was condescending, he was demeaning, and he undermined my injuries the whole time. I told him I didn't feel comfortable talking to him. I asked to speak to somebody else, and he refused. He was a complete a-hole the whole time I was talking to him. He was talking down to me. His tone of voice was just unacceptable. And he said he was going to have an answer for me by Tuesday. It was a Friday. The Monday was a holiday. I got a letter the next week denying my claim. And I was told I was to pay back all of my EI benefits totaling $28,000. I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe it. How this guy, Tyrell Alexander, turned this whole situation around. Here I am paying into the unemployment program for the past 25 years. In 2024, I earned almost $140,000. I contributed more into this EI pool than I ever have. And I'm being treated like shit by Tyrell Alexander, who was just a horrible representation of any public servant, in my opinion. His reason was, he said I wasn't applying for jobs, which I was. I didn't have a logbook of jobs I applied for. I'm in a union. I don't keep a logbook. Um, you just apply for jobs. And, that's my history of that. Eventually, there was no jobs in the union. It was slow. I went to the bottom of the list and I picked up a sales job. So I was working a sales job based off of just commission, and I hadn't made any earnings. I had to file a complaint and launch an appeal with the client satisfaction department. I got a call back from a girl named Krista or Crystal. She was extremely helpful, sensible from filing the complaint and starting the appeal process. Eventually, I spoke with a lady named Wendy, and we would go over my appeal. I told her that I was actively looking for work, that I'm in a union. She mentioned I need to send in a log book of jobs that I've been applying for. And I had mentioned about this sales job that I've been doing, um, and how I haven't made any sales. Um, I sent in the logbook for the jobs that I did apply in between. And like I said, I thought the convo went well. She seemed understandable and sensible. Wendy told me over the phone that she was going to accept my appeal, um, and that she had to consult with her team. When I finally received her response back, they were maintaining their decision on the issue of the $28,000 and not applying for work. And pretty sure Tyrell had some influence into this, meaning I'd have to continue to pay back this $28,000. And then the misrepresentation, they were reversing their decision on this issue, saying I was intentionally dishonest, making my EI reports, which I was not. So at first they acknowledged I made an honest filing with my EI reports, which I did, and now they're saying I was dishonest. So, I wonder how much influence did Tyrell Alexander have on this decision? So a week later, I get a call from an investigator named Tammy. Tammy at first came off as a vicious pit bull with shark teeth, just waiting to bite. She was drilling me with questions. She was rough. But then she softened up and she calmed down because she agreed I was looking for work. She agreed I was injured, that I had the proper medical documentation. She acknowledged that I was working for a sales job, that I hadn't had any sales yet. It was all commission. And that I was just basically building up a database of leads. So she agreed that, I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. Unlike Tyrell Alexander, Tammy treated me fair and she treated me like a human being. Tammy agreed I was applying for jobs. She accepted the jobs I was applying for. She accepted my logbook, the jobs my logbook that I was applying for. She accepted my medical documentation. She realized I was injured, looking for work, and that I was telling the truth. I spoke to her for about an hour, and she said she would approve my appeal and reverse the $28,000 owing amount, and gave me the sickness benefits I had originally applied for that Tyrell Alexander refused to approve. I had to go through all this unnecessary bullshit for no good reason. Unnecessary stress. It just threw me right off. That whole ordeal, that 30, 60 days of trying to clean up this mess that Tyrell Alexander caused. It was bullshit. And, on top of all the other shit I'm dealing with this Kitchener-Waterloo Courthouse, the Attorney General's office, this JDE, this very corrupted law society. Now they throw this at me. And I was already emailing the Attorney General's office, trying to get help. So I'm pretty sure I've been flagged. I'm pretty sure that I've been flagged. It seems like, that's what it is, and they're just trying to take me out financially. So it's like, you know, um, so here's the thing too. If this appeal didn't go through, this might have collapsed Canada's economy, because there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that never apply for any jobs on EI. See, this was the whole thing with Tyrell. He was trying to manipulate and say I never applied for any jobs, which I was. I'm in a union. I had a logbook. Um, so, you know, if they would have went through on this and they would have pinned this to me, I would have had to protest downtown Toronto, and I would have had to made a stink to the finance minister who basically funds all these programs, and you know this whole little theory here of what I might have had to do was I had to mention this to Krista. And she told me that this situation had gotten all the way up to the finance minister, Mr. Champagne, that he got involved. He got involved and he said to take care of it. Now, I don't know if that was to take me out or just to clean up the mess. I don't know what that was, but this situation had gotten back to the Minister of Finance. I had been emailing the Attorney General's office a lot at this time, so I didn't know if this would be a good thing or a bad thing. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I've been flagged by the Attorney General's office, because there's been a slew full of Attorney Generals that have been caught engaging in some major misconduct and major corruption, and rather doing the right thing, they continue with me anyways, with my situation, to double down on just the crap that they've been doing to me. Rather than saying, hey, we made a mistake, let us clean up this mess that we made. Hey, let us do the right thing. The Attorney General's office refuses to do that. They refuse to help me. Whenever they get a chance to destroy any progress I've made with my life, they'll do it. They've done it over the years, and they're still doing it with Katie Wood. And even Doug Downey is refusing to help me with this catastrophic Kitchener and Waterloo courthouse corruption. So, yeah, I didn't know if this Minister of Finance, what exactly he said, but I was eventually told. I was eventually told by Tammy that I had to pay back roughly $3,000 because of the mistake I made when filing my two EI claims back in July and September of 2021. Because EI Service Canada reversed their decision on misrepresentation, they would enforce Section 52, Sub-Rule 5 of the EI Act. So that's what they did, pretty much, right? If someone is investigated and they have been deemed to have provided false or misleading information, they can go back 5 years and do a full investigation into all of your claims and to see if there was any errors done, which they did with me. So, Section 52, Sub-Rule 5 states, a false or misleading statement or representation has been made in connection with the claim. The Commission has 72 months to reconsider a claim. So, I had another appeal pending. This misrepresentation decision, because remember, that's what they said. They reversed their decision saying that I did misrepresent and provide false information. So I appealed that along parallel with this COVID. Um, I appealed that $2,000 COVID that they threw at us. Remember, they told us to stay home for 7 weeks in 2019, and never said we had to pay back that money. And so I had two appeals going on. One was that $2,000 COVID, and one was this misrepresentation. I would eventually speak with a guy named Muhammad. He too would accept the appeal and reverse the decision for misrepresentation, which means that employment insurance should have never went back 72 months, but they did. So now, after Muhammad's decision that he refused, he denied my request to not repay back that $2,000 COVID money, and now there was the this $3,000 that I had to pay back because they Section 52 Sub Rule 5, they went back 72 months. Well, they shouldn't have. That is the act. So this is when I put an appeal in with the Social Security Tribunal of Canada. They deal with the appeals. And that's when Susan Graves was assigned to the appeal. And so I spoke with Susan Grave, and basically she would not accept my argument that because I did not misrepresent my earnings, it was an honest mistake, that they should not have gone back 72 months as per Section 52 of the Unemployment Act, Sub Rule 5. This lawyer, former / deputy director at the Attorney General's office, refused to abide by the Unemployment Act. And she made me pay back this money, which I should have never had to pay the money back. I've got that recorded telephone conversation that they actually sent me that I'm going to share with everybody. And you guys can hear for yourself. This former prosecutor is refusing to uphold the Insurance Act. She forced me to pay back this $3,000 that they should have never went back and looked into because I was deemed that I never misrepresented a fact. But because of Tyrell Alexander decided to be a shithead and shit on me because I was trying to be honest with my EI sickness benefits, it caused all this shit. All this unnecessary bullshit, right? And like I said, a year before I earned $140,000, and I've been paying into the EI program for the past 25 years, and this is how they treated me. What Tyrell Alexander put me through was absolutely bullshit, and at the end of the day, I got the sickness benefits, but not before going through a 360 spin of bullshit abuse from Tyrell Alexander. So this is what they put me through. More abuse from the government on the public. I was simply asking for the sickness benefits because I am injured. My elbow was trashed. I'm working through it every day as best as I can. At work, when I'm working as an electrician, my elbow's like killing me on certain tasks. And now, because of this owing money, which is now totaling, so what happened was this, and I didn't know this, right? But when I was on unemployment in 2021, I had started a new job. But during my first week of work, I never received any money. So I reported my unemployment claim that 1 week I didn't receive any money. I reported on my unemployment claim. And I thought that was normal. It was never flagged. I was never told different. And it wasn't until all this shit happened with this Tyrell Alexander who I'm pretty sure lost his job over this. Um, because last August, when I was doing research trying to get some information on him, there was nothing available about him. There was no pictures. Now all of a sudden, there's 3 pictures online, and his profile under the social development, it says that he is no longer an employee as of 2023. But what's odd is that he received my email that I had sent in August of 2025 because they told me, the investigator told me. So because of all this bullshit that they put me through, I had to pay back the $2,000 for that COVID money. I had to pay back. There was 2 claims in 2021 that I made a mistake, and now it's even put more of a financial burden on me. Um, you know, I'm already struggling enough as it is financially, and now they recently I did my taxes. I made a third or a quarter of what I made in 2024 because of that shithead JDE. Um, that crook, that guy that just slithered into this country on some bogus refugee claim, and I need an investigator to help me out investigate his lawyer's license because he cheated his way into law school. Um, that guy destroyed my finances, and on top of this, now Tyrell wants to just put more weight on my on this unnecessary stress. So now I did my taxes. They took all my return. They take my GST, whatever rebates, and it's just more unnecessary financial burden and abuse from our government. And I just want you guys to be aware that if you're doing your unemployment claims, that if you work one week, you have to include it as that is income. That's the mistake I made. But you guys got to be very careful dealing with this social security tribunal, because if you get in front of someone like Susan Graves, former 20-year prosecutor she has demonstrated they just look out for their own. And we all know that in the Crown's office, that recent incident at 10 Armory with that one prosecutor and that cop, how they made it very clear, and it's nothing new, that the prosecutors look out for their own. Okay, it's a little tight society, and that's what I believe Susan Graves has done. So more unnecessary hardship, more unnecessary bullshit dealing with this Canadian government. I'm ready to check out, and I'm hoping one day that an investigative journalist will help me, or like a lawyer. Like, this is where I'm at right now. I'm sitting on a slam dunk of abuse from the government, and this right here, what Tyrell put me through, and EI insurance it was absolutely unnecessary, because what I asked for at the very beginning, they gave to me at the end. But then they put me through all this bullshit, told me I pretty much had to pay back $31,000. I still owe. And then it came down to $5,000, and now I owe about like $3,000 or $2,000. And it's just, I don't know. I just want to share this story with you guys, and it's just another messed up situation dealing with this Canadian government. And hopefully one day, there's change. But until then, we gotta just continue to expose in these type of situations and try to educate and help one another out. That this could happen to you, man. It happened to me, and so that's my story dealing with Tyrell Alexander, this social unemployment Canada, employment, social development, social security tribunal Canada. I'll be honest. I would never go on unemployment again. And if I ever get an opportunity to leave Canada, I'm going to. I'm over this country. I'm overpaying into this government, doing this type of bullshit to Canadians on the regular. It's not right, man. We've got a very corrupted government, and something's got to change. I'm going to leave the video right there. I'm going to be dropping this phone call with Susan Graves. You guys can hear the conversation and let me know what you guys think about the Social Security Tribunal, and are they handling appeals fairly? So thank you guys for watching. This is another video from Let's Talk About It. And if you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching.